So LMVH, for those that don't know, that is the company that owns Louis Vuitton, the most known for Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
LMV, it's LMV.
Moet, sorry.
Moet Hennessy. Are incorporated with that.
Yeah.
Moet Hennessy being the biggest distributor of champagne in the world.
Yeah.
So it's not a small collaboration.
They own a lot.
They own a lot.
They own a load of. I think they bought Tiffany's. Let me
no, you're right. So
yeah.
Recently, I did some research. Recently, they bought Tiffany's, which everyone knows in America is massive.
Yeah.
And they had a brand new PR campaign, which is called "Not Your Mother's Tiffany's." So
yes.
they're saying it's not the old school Tiffany's that everybody knew. They're trying to re-engineer it to make it fresher, more vibrant for this generation of time. LMVH own Fenty.
Yeah.
They own Fendi.
Yeah.
They own Kenzo.
What was the fashion house? So
yeah.
They own a lot of the luxury fashion brands. But this acquisition in particular was quite interesting because Virgil, how do you pronounce his surname?
Abloh.
All right, cool. Let's say Abloh.
Sorry, Virgil.
If it's wrong, I apologize.
Yeah.
But he actually made him was it the creative director?
Yes.
Of Louis Vuitton, and that was what, last year?
Yeah.
Already. And then now they recently just purchased 60% stake in his brand Off-White.
Yeah.
And they're actually going to basically promote him now to a higher executive role, to be able to have more control, not just on Louis Vuitton, but over across the board.
And that's what's interesting because people forget that LMVH/Louis Vuitton do a lot. So I mean, in Louis Vuitton, you can buy a pool table, you can buy headphones, you can buy dumbbells, you can buy a jump roach. It literally is a luxury brand. As we know, Virgil is celebrated because he's a cross-disciplinary creative. He's an architect by trade.
Okay.
Yeah,
didn't know that.
He's an architect by trade.
Nice.
Then went to visual design.
Okay.
Obviously fashion.
Yeah.
But his thing is about designing life.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to promote him to this position he's in now is interesting. What I do want to say before I talk more about Virgil is LMVH and Louis Vuitton have a history of doing this. So before, they've had different creative directors that they've absorbed their companies, made them creative directors, and then led a new way for them.
Yeah.
So Marc Jacobs, massive
yeah,
one.
yeah,
so
yeah,
they
yeah.
brought
Remember
Marc
that.
Jacobs. Then they made him a creative director for about 8 years.
Okay.
And he brought a lot of innovation to it. Takashi, you know, the guy who I think he's Japanese or Chinese.
Okay.
They works up with Kanye.
Yeah.
Colourful. Yeah. They absorbed that. Worked at Louis Vuitton for about 12, 13 years. Re-engineered the monogram from being black to being brown and colourful ones.
Yeah.
And Kim Jones, another person. Loads of great people that had their own brands originally.
Yeah.
That they absorbed to be creative directors, but then they said, rather than just take what you've got, I want you to help build the future of Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
And that's something that's I like it. And I did it with Dior as well.
Okay.
So what they're doing with Virgil now is no different. What's interesting about the Virgil deal, though, is that 60% is the biggest stake they've ever taken.
Yeah.
For an acquisition. And the reason why they're taking 60% is because of the retail arm. And that's what I was talking about.
So how many stores is it? 56 stores they got?
I haven't got that number. I think it's about, I know it's a lot, but they're keeping all those stores open.
Yeah.
They're making new stores. But the controversy comes from the fact that although Off-White is a luxury brand, LMVH is a French fashion house.
Mm-hmm.
It's unusual for a European fashion house to absorb an American fashion brand as part of their business because there's a quality mark that comes with it.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, Louis Vuitton still do things made by hand. They still have sewing machines. They do things in limited runs. That's their operation model.
Yeah.
Off-White is a very American company. They do things in an American way.
Well, all you got to think is the streetwear brand. Technically, streetwear premium brand is and this is what I thought was quite interesting because all the people that you mentioned, I suppose there was already in that kind of heritage, kind of luxury arm already.
Yeah.
However, this is not necessarily heritage. This is contemporary.
It is contemporary
luxury. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's a whole different direction.
I agree with that.
For a fashion house which has been around for over 100 years. I don't even know actually, but it's been around for a long time.
No, longer than 100 years.
Okay, there you go.
This company, Louis Vuitton, was started in the 19th century by Louis Vuitton.
Okay.
Louis Vuitton's a serious geezer, you know.
Yeah.
He's from France originally, but he travelled 292 miles on foot to Paris to start his company.
Okay. Yeah, that's a different.
So he understands work rate.
Yeah.
And this lineage stays in the business for everyone that they work with. It's people that really put the graft in. People that I mean, Kanye moaned. I love Kanye. Kanye moaned for a long time because they made him literally go back to cotton fields and start from scratch. Yeah. But Louis Vuitton, it represents and understands the hard work and graft of quality.
Okay.
That's what it's about. So when I see him working with Virgil, the reason why they said this deal that we're talking about took them 10 minutes to iron out.
Yeah. I mean, it would.
Exactly.
It would. Because what you're already in the building for one, right? And you've got this brand that you've built up over however many years, and they come in and say, okay, we want to acquire it. That's like the perfect, for me, is a perfect exit and promotion at the same time in one.
And talk about that so people won't get what you mean by perfect exit.
So I suppose the exit is once you built up your company, you built up your brand, is okay, you get to a point now, it's like, okay, how do we progress to the next level?
Yeah.
And usually either a VC firm or a venture capital firm or some sort of equity partner comes in and purchases your company. Kind of, usually they come in and change all your directors or your board members, and they kind of do what they want. You got your bag, basically.
Yeah, you got your bag.
But this is like, so even when Jay-Z did it, right, with Ace of Spades.
Yeah. And you know the company.
It's another thing. I just looked at it, it's like this perfect exit.
Yeah.
You build it up over however many years, you make all this money, and then you just say, you know what,
and
keep it.
This is such a good point that you bring it up, because especially in like urban culture, there's a lot of conversation about like, you know, selling out and like and ownership.
I mean, it's a definition of selling out.
Yeah, and it is. But what people need to understand is that it's selling out positively.
Of course.
In terms of the fact that setting up a business, you should have an exit strategy. Yeah. Your exit strategy might be that you succeed it to your son or your daughter. That can be your strategy, but you need to have a strategy in place.
So so I suppose at this stage, they still can. So he still owns 40%, right? And I think in the deal, so the actual company itself is owned by another company called, I had it on here, New Guard Group.
Okay.
Now they got the license for the trade. They licensed the name Off-White anyway. So that deal hasn't changed at all. And
I want to pause you for a sec. Licensing the deal. So what does that mean?
So a license agreement is when you actually had your intellectual property, which would be the trademark or designs, whichever. Another company would say, you know what, we want to actually produce all your products, and we're going to license the name, and we're just basically give you a license fee off the sales or profit or whatever deal they kind of
like
have.
Tommy Hilfiger, Tommy Jeans.
Disney.
So Disney, great one.
Yeah. So
you know, when you just like one day you walk into Primark and you see Mickey Mouse tracksuits. Yeah. That's the license.
Yeah. So they have to license the Mickey Mouse name or the Disney name, the actual image of Mickey Mouse, and then any sales they make off that, they have to pay Disney for that.
So going back to what you said, so the Guard, what's the company called?
New Guard Group.
New Guard. I still have the licensing agreement. Louis Vuitton owns 60% of Off-White. Yeah. Virgil has 40% remaining and is now promoted to have more influence across the whole company as a whole. Yeah.
So this is where I suppose it gets interesting again as well. You say, I didn't actually know he had a background in architecture and all those kind of things, because when it's across the whole fashion house, they got hotels.
You get it.
They got, so you got to think like.
Have you seen the Gucci hotel in Dubai?
I want to see it now.
Exactly. And so if Louis Vuitton have Virgil on deck making things like that, it's a whole new realm. And I know we're running out short on time, but what's important to mention here is that although Louis Vuitton's doing very, very well, they have to do things to remain relevant and remain in the luxury model. Some of the things they've been doing with Virgil, his idea is of keeping him relevant in that space. Yeah. So when he signed on, he did a pop-up shop straight away. Yeah. Limited amount of people, quantities, limited people, and max returns. One thing that I found very interesting, and this is probably a reason why they're diversifying, is that the monogram logo of Louis Vuitton is the most counterfeited logo in the whole history of fashion. Okay. The reason why it's so counterfeit is because it's been around for 150 years. Okay, so people know how to copy it. Yeah. But on average, I mean, last year, in 2018, Alibaba sees £536 million worth of counterfeit goods. Oh, okay. So that says to me, and we're gonna wrap it here, but that says to me that the retail arm of what they're doing, just LV, has got trouble. Yeah. There's pirates in the ocean. They're looking to diversify what they're putting out in terms of LMVH. And they see Virgil as somebody who can extend them past just fashion. Yeah, true. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
I'm still a little bit skeptical though, because I'm also advocate of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, I think moving from a traditional heritage model to a contemporary model. To do contemporary, you have to be in the now. Yeah, that means you're relying on Virgil now to keep you in the now. Yeah. I mean, he could pull it off. I think if anyone could do it, he can probably do it. Yeah. But then you have to then stay in the now.
That's the thing. And last point I'm going to say, that wraps up what you just said. The big guy at Louis Vuitton, managing director, whatever you call him, his quote was, "We're not in the business of replicating any systems that are out there at the minute. We're looking to disrupt."
Yeah, okay.
So he goes, "No one's doing what we've done.
It's a high risk, but
It's a high risk." He goes, "No one's doing what we've done." He goes, "I don't want no one to do what we're doing. We're looking to disrupt. That's what we're trying to do." I respect it.
good luck.
I respect it.
Yeah, man.
Shout out Virgil.
Shout out Virgil.
All right then. So we spoke a little bit about fashion. I say a little bit, a lot about fashion. But I like the perspective. And for those that don't know as well, so was it your first business?
Yeah. My first main business, yeah.
First main business was a streetwear brand.
Yeah.
My first main business was a streetwear brand.
So it's probably why we spent a lot of time on
yeah. And more so than me, Rico's actually, he took it to the next level. He licensed his brand out to people. So when it's talking about licensing, he's been through that experience. He knows how that works. So good insights, man. Proper good insights.